Sadly, James couldn't be here, so this is the Happy Movies panel now. I'm just kidding, James is here. Come on out. I promise he's here. Come on out. We're on.
Hello, I don't hear myself.
Neither the speaker amazing.
I couldn't hear you. When I was back on the say it again.
You guys can hear us, right?
Yeah, I don't know. We're doing mostly Q&A. I don't know. Have any opening comments?
Wait, you can't hear us now?
They're back there, yeah.
Wasn't here. Here's my
Mic check. Hello.
I hear myself.
Oh,
I did. Can you hear me now? Okay.
one second.
Volume is coming.
The mic's this one.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hello.
That's better.
Hello.
Hi.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. Anybody want to start out with anything? I got nothing.
How about you, James? I guess congrats on 3 million subscribers. Unless everyone here, just unsubscribes right now, we'll dip the number and then we'll have another celebration.
How many people in this room? Do you know?
There's probably like a 300 people out there. I guess I won't do it.
Well, thank you for being 300 of the 3 million. We appreciate it. We have a lot of nerd videos coming up. We are also trying to get the You Know What's Bullshit series up again. Sometime, I think by the end of the year, and we're not sure yet, but sometime this year, we do have scripts ready, and I was thinking to read you the script to the first episode, so you can just imagine the video in your head. Now, this is an R-rated panel for language. I hope that's okay. We do a little cussing here. So, yeah, I will read you. This is actually a first. It's basically, You Know It's Bullshit live. I mean, nobody has ever, I've never done this before, and nobody has heard any of these episodes yet. So this is the first time ever. So, episode 1, I guess we should start out. If anybody could do that banjo jingle to get the episode started.
Can anyone do that?
Yeah, I can.
Get the mic.
Oh, is somebody doing it? Am I doing
Do the jingle. You know it's bullshit.
The word bi-monthly. There have been those bullshit episodes a long time, but that's only because of an already packed video schedule of all these different Cinemassacre shows. So I had a meeting, sat down, talked with the Screenwave people. We worked out a new plan, a new schedule to get You Know It's Bullshit episodes released bi-monthly. That's right, bi-monthly. But as the meeting went on, there was some confusion. Half of the room thought bi-monthly meant every 2 months. The other half thought it meant twice a month. So we looked it up. According to Merriam-Webster.com, bi-monthly has 2 definitions: occurring every 2 months or occurring twice a month. What the fuck? To confirm, we looked at OxfordDictionaries.com, which says occurring or produced twice a month or every 2 months. In other words, it means whatever you want it to mean. Bi-monthly is a completely useless word. To say it, you would have to assume the person you're talking to knows which of the two conflicting meanings you intend. And the same problem happens with the word bi-weekly. How did such a blunder fall into common English language, which already has tons of problems? See my episode on word pronunciations. So, obviously, the word bi means two. A bicycle has two wheels, not one wheel for every 2 bites. It means two. Simple as that. Similar to bi-monthly is biannually, but biannual simply means twice a year. There's no debate on it. So when we're talking in the measurement of weeks and months, we have conflicting ideas. But when we get to a year, we suddenly agree. There even exists a different word that means every 2 years. A completely separate word to offer distinction from biannual. The word is biannual. You gotta be kidding me. What's worse? A word that means two separate things or two separate words that sound alike? How could it be any more confusing? Lo and behold, here comes the word bi-yearly, which means either biannually or biannually. So if you weren't sure whether you were trying to say biannually or biannually, you could just say bi-yearly, which means fuck it. Then there's the word bicentennial, which is used when talking about a 200-year anniversary. In other words, 2 centuries. It never means twice in 1 century. Does this prefix have any consistency? Well, I gotta take a shit, which I do bi-daily, meaning twice a day or every other day, unlike bi-circadian, which means only twice a day, or bi-deli, which is twice every other day, or bi-duty, which means 2 shits in 1 sitting, or bi-fuck-a-day, which means I don't know what the fuck I mean, or bi-fucking bull-bi-fuck shit, which means the bullshit is coming back. Twice every something. So at least you get more, and that part ain't bullshit.
I hope we were recording that, because I don't think you're going to be able to do it again like that.
I recorded it like twice through now, so now I got it in my head. I'm getting better at it. And, let's see. So I also brought a chapter from my book in case you want me to read that. Is the sound okay? You still hearing good?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yes, this is from my book, A Movie Making Nerd, which will come out sometime soon. I don't know when. Hopefully within the year. I'm looking into publishing options, which is a whole uncharted territory for me. So I'm going to look into all the options before I release it. But the good part is it's written. And it's basically my life story. So if everyone, the question, you know, how'd you get started? This is the long answer to that question. So let me see. You want to read? I have a couple chapters. I could read one. I'm going to read one or the other. I could do one that's about dreams as a child, like weird dreams, or I can do one that's about filmmaking in college. Who wants the dreams one? Oh, a lot of people. Who wants the college filmmaking one? A little more for the dreams. I think so. All right, we'll do dreams. All right, here we go. All right. These are the innocent child years. This is actually how it opens. I was inside my baby carriage, being pushed through the park by my mother. I watched the tree branches passing over me, a canopy of pretty leaves with patches of sky. All was quiet and serene. Next, I found myself in a tiny pool with water up to my waist. I splashed around playfully. The water was showering down from the mouth of a dragon made of concrete, towering above me. Its long green neck rose maybe 10 feet from the pool with dorsal fins going up its back to the top of its head in a mohawk fashion. It stared blindly through hollow eyes, its nostrils flaring as water drizzled out its red lips. Otherwise, it was a typical scene. There were slides, seesaws, swings, and picnic tables. Everything you'd expect to see in a park. But something was missing. There were no other kids, not a single person in sight, just the dragon looming over me. Where was my mom? I was all alone. I turned around, scanning the distance. There was nothing but trees enclosing the scene. All was quiet. I could hear no birds, no dogs barking, nothing. Then one lone sound pierced the silence, bells from a nearby church, as if time was ticking down. Something was about to happen. I looked up. The dragon's head was much closer than before. Its eyes fixated on me, its neck lurching forward, its mouth open, showing off rows of sharp teeth. I screamed, then everything went pitch black. I woke up crying into my pillow. My mom came into the room and turned on the light. She told me I was just having a nightmare. I was only a baby and hadn't yet even grasped the concept of what a nightmare is. There's a first time for everything. Whether or not it actually was my first nightmare, the truth remains, it's the oldest event from my life that I can still remember. It was my earliest known experience with the haunting power of imagination, something that would eventually become my most valuable tool. I was born in Philadelphia, PA, 1980, and the first years of my life were spent in agonizing fear of the ghastly terrors that lurk inside the mind, such as monsters in the closet. Most people seem to have had at least one recurring nightmare. For me, it definitely was the dragon in the park. The truth is, it wasn't just a nightmare. The park was a real place, and the dragon waterspout actually existed. It was in the Fox Chase area of Philadelphia, a few blocks from my parents' apartment, my first home. Nearby was the church where I was baptized, though I was never religious. That would probably explain the toll of the bells in the dream. Not too far was the hospital where I was born. The park seemed to be the central location where my true personality was actually born. Mom tells me I played next to the dragon on a daily basis. I wasn't afraid of it. I loved it, but I guess things change when the lights go out at night. The odd thing is that my memory of the nightmare is more vivid than the real place. My brain insists the dragon was really alive. Then why did I keep going back to the park? I guess we're drawn to the things that frighten us. Another major recurring nightmare I had was E.T. from the Spielberg film, but in my dreams it was the dead, chalk-colored E.T. from the scene where he's dying. The evil zombie E.T. stood about 20 feet tall and his neck could stretch infinitely. My bedroom was on the second floor. He would stand outside and stare through my window. I revised the dream to make it sound better, but that would defeat the whole purpose of the book. What happened is what happened. Another recurring dream involved a 50-foot tall chicken that was running around my neighborhood with its head cut off. I was always running from it. I could never understand why my mind had to manifest such horrible things. They came out of nowhere. I never saw a horror movie until I was much older. I always went to bed with the lights on and often would sleep in my parents' room. Sometimes I was too afraid to sleep at all for fear of what kind of terrors I'd meet inside my whimsical brain. Even when I was awake, I would have vivid hallucinations. My dad, trying to save the electric bill, would shut off my lights at some point during the night while I was asleep. I would wake up disoriented and see all kinds of gruesome creatures surrounding me with their eyeballs hanging out of their sockets and their jaws broken off with cockroaches coming out of their ears. Arms were reaching out to me, tongues were reaching out to me, everything was reaching out to me. I would be too afraid to get out of bed and reach for the light switch. All I could do was hide under the blankets and scream. I remember one night staring into the darkness of my closet, laying awake for hours, seeing ghosts dancing around. They had a slimy texture that emitted a radiant greenish blue glow. It's hard to describe. Try to imagine if you covered a sock in glow-in-the-dark paint. Once I got out of bed to take a closer look, I looked right at the ghost only inches from my face. It still looked real. I went back to bed and kept an eye on it until morning. When the morning rays of sun lit the room, the illusion finally faded as the ghost morphed into a t-shirt. I learned later that some of these hallucinations were linked to sleep paralysis, which is this weird phase when you're temporarily stuck between the dream world and real life. Sometimes you're aware of your body but can't move. For anybody who's experienced it, you know how much it sucks. But I took some delight in it too. I started to accept that my mind was running wild and just enjoyed the show. These ghosts were fun. The closet was their stage. The performance would end at dawn when they'd all turn back into action figures, stuffed animals, and clothes. I was fascinated how my mind could trick me into seeing such horrible things, seeing such weird things. A big question was, how could I make other people see the same things I was seeing? My parents moved out of their apartment and left Philadelphia to move into a house in southern New Jersey. It was a random place, could have been anywhere. It was known as the Pine Barrens. There's nothing but forests. Probably out of such community boredom spawned several urban legends, most notably the Jersey Devil and the Atco Ghost. But I wasn't aware of these famous tales yet. I was busy making up my own things. We lived on a quiet, dead-end street, and because there was hardly any traffic, all the neighborhood boys and girls would roller skate and play in the middle of the road. It might have been just an ordinary place, but to me, this was a paradise where all my creativity blossomed. I can't take for granted, my parents did the absolute best. They sacrificed everything for me, such as my mom quitting a good job and giving up a promotion to stay home and raise me. They gave me the perfect childhood. They gave me a dog and many cats, and ultimately a sister who was my best friend, my enemy sometimes, and everything all at once. She eventually turned out to be the opposite of me, an athletic, popular girl, proving the amazing range of my parents. I was the nerdy one, not athletic in the slightest. I tried playing street hockey with my friends. My reflexes were too slow. I chased the puck around, always a step behind, and then I stopped. Hang on a second, I lost my page here. Okay. I chased the puck around, always a step behind, and then I stopped and stared at the stick. I held it up, envisioning it as a sword. I looked up to the street lamp, its long pole becoming the neck of a dragon. The lamp was its eye. I guess it was a Cyclops dragon. I told my friends to use their swords. We must defend ourselves. And they all started playing along. Behind my house was a field where no crops grew. I led my friends through, slashing weeds which we imagined to be goblins. We journeyed all the way across to a small forest, and at the end, the lake where there existed an actual shipwreck, a tiny boat partially submerged, poking up on the surface. This is where our imaginary quest ended as our collaborative, heroic efforts defeated an evil wizard who'd throw fireballs from the boat. We deflect them back, sinking him forever in the lake. Every day was ripe with imagination. We played as soldiers, cowboys, and used plastic building toys to build a life-size submarine, a time machine, and a weather device to create tornadoes. I had a fascination with tornadoes and wanted to see one in real life, but was also terrified of them, and they persisted in my nightmares too. Something about danger intrigued us. One of my friends told us about Satan and hell. We wanted to see if it was real. We wanted to see if hell was real, so we began digging a hole in the ground. It was a huge undertaking to reach the deepest bow of the earth, but we were determined. We kept digging until we could stand in it with our heads below ground level. That's when we started to get scared. Well, if Satan was real, what would he do to us? So we jumped out and frantically covered the hole. When I got an audio cassette recorder for Christmas, we began recording our stories on tape. It was my favorite toy so far. We invented voices for different characters like Fuji Wooji, Funky Monkey, and Ducky Poop. This is where we exercised our toilet humor as my friends shared every obscene word they knew of. One of them told me to say kid backwards. I did. They all laughed. I couldn't figure out why. So I asked my parents. Oh boy. Next came photography. I borrowed a cheap camera from my parents and went outside to snap pictures of my friends making funny faces and capturing motion like jumping, karate kicks, and spraying water guns. Freezing action was a fascination of mine. But then you had to bring the pictures to the store after you finished the roll of film to get them developed. Sometimes you'd wait a week to see the results. Often pictures would come back dark or blurry, or the lens was covered by a finger. Photos became another medium to tell stories about heroic warriors who had to battle vicious creatures and evil ogres, all made from ordinary objects. A lawnmower with a blanket thrown over it was a goblin, a crinkled pool cover was a blob monster, and a green sandbox lid was a slime monster. My dog, PJ, a half-collie, half-German shepherd, often appeared in the photos, playing with us. But within the realm of the stories, she was the king of the beasts, the ultimate in horror. When she rolled on her back and spread her limbs, she became known as the Four-Winged Terror. I compiled all the photos into an album, which I made into a storybook. Since we use bright neon Nerf swords as the hero's main weapon, resembling lightsabers or lasers, I called the story Laser Fighting, which had a few sequels. I put the photos in sequence and wrote captions, almost like a comic book. Sometimes I drew new monsters on the photos, or projectiles, or impact graphics like BAM and Kapow. In a way, I was learning the basics of story editing. To fill in the stories, I sometimes added stock images, and I didn't care how recognizable they were. The White House became the Four-Winged Terror's castle. Later, I learned about the term stock footage, meaning in movies to insert previously existing footage as a cost-cutting method used excessively by Ed Wood. So those are the childhood imagination years where I was starting to do all this kind of stuff. And yeah, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Thank you, appreciate it. And then 30 years later, here we are. Yeah. Roughly 30 years ago when those stories are from. So yeah, hopefully, the book will come out fairly soon. Yeah, so stay tuned, and I appreciate all the waiting. Got a lot of cool things coming up.
You had some messed up dreams as a kid, man.
I can't remember a dream I had yesterday.
I don't remember any yesterday. Only from 30 years ago. Anybody have any weird dreams that you remember?
I used to have weird. Yeah, I used to have these dreams where I would be sleeping or whatever, and I would look at the window and I would see what looked kind of like a lottery ticker going across the window, and then I'd hear sirens, and then I would shrink and fly around the room. And I had those like every night of my life, to the point where I would sleep with the lights on like all the time as a kid. Yeah, there you go.
I've never had a nightmare. I mean, aside from this waking nightmare, the most that ever happens, like in a dream, like, oh, I'm falling and you hit the ground and you wake up. It's like that, but you like trip on the sidewalk and catch yourself. That's about it. So I don't think I can write a book about that. Tony, you got anything?
No, me really. My girlfriend has sleep paralysis and night terrors, and I've been woken up by that a million times. She'll randomly have a dream that there's someone in the corner and say corner, and then I'll wake up freaking out, thinking there's someone in the house. Like, oh, she just haven't gotten into it again. That's all I got.
I did have a weird. I had this one dream in high school where I was in my friend's car with Apollo Creed and Steve Urkel.
Apollo Creed.
Yeah, I don't.
Not even Carl Weathers, Apollo Creed.
So we were picking someone up, and his lawn was riddled with xenomorph face huggers, and one jumped on my pants, and I was like, ah! And then my friend slapped it with something, which it sprayed the acid on my pants, which ate my pants away. And then I had to go to school, and my friend's like, hey, I got a pair of sweatpants, you can wear that. And then so I was like, cool. And I switched into sweatpants, and then someone came up to me and was like, hey man, you have that money you owe me. I was like, yeah, hold on, let me get it. And I had to pull the wallet out. And the guy's like, dude, I just saw your pubes. And then I woke up. So that was my weirdest dream, probably.
Forget Alien versus Predator. Alien versus Creed and
Yeah. It's the most ambitious.
Oh wait, so you can't do that. Carl Weathers was in Predator. You're gonna break continuity.
Oh my God. Oh, I didn't make the connection. Yeah. Maybe that's subconsciously in the dream.
I don't know. I really don't. I don't know. Oh, that's it. Steve Urkel gave me the pants. That's what it was. It was really I don't know.
Did you hitch the pants up?
Yeah. I told my friends about it at school, and they were just like, what? What the fuck, dude? So yeah, so there you go. There's I don't know. Yeah.
Unless things go terribly wrong, which they generally do, I think there's 9 more nerd episodes this year, if I counted them right. Do you want to tell them what the next one is, or do you not?
Next one, Chex Quest, which is actually a pretty good game. Yeah, we could do Q&A. All right, so
So I guess we have a mic runner. Is that what's going on?
We only have one mic guy?
Yeah, Rob, I think he'll just run around and do it. Now, the only problem I see here is we can barely hear ourselves. Will we able to hear you?
We'll figure it out. We'll hear how the mic sounds. Yeah, but yeah, why don't you just pick anybody you want. I guess just go around. I guess start.
Just pick whoever you want.
Yeah, I guess just cover the. Hey.
Test. Can you hear?
Oh, I can hear you. Yeah.
All right. So I guess my biggest question is, what is the most requested game that you get for a review that you actually really like?
Most requested game that I haven't played?
Well, the most requested game for an Angry Nerd review that you personally really like and don't think is a bad game.
Okay, I got you. Yeah, I can hear you real good, but the problem is I hear everything else too. I don't know, a game that I like that everybody thinks is bad. I'm not sure. I really don't know. I don't think I really have an answer, to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I'll get back to you if I think of one.
What was your favorite nerd episode to make? Like, what was your favorite while making it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear any of that.
I just hear like the announcements and stuff. Like, sorry, ask one more time.
What was your favorite nerd episode to make?
Favorite nerd episode to make? Right now, I think it's still Rob the Robot, but there's a lot of close calls. I really like the Mega Man episode. I really like the Berenstain Bears one, the Polybius one. So there's a lot of contenders.
What part about the Game Boy attachments did you really like?
Oh, Game Boy accessories?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, which one did I really like? Let me see, I think any of them that improved the visibility of the Game Boy, which, you know, they had mixed results. I don't really remember from the video, not the huge one, but there was one that was okay. Like it magnified it, and there was a light. Because otherwise the Game Boy has the screen's really tough to see.
Yes. Aside from LGN, who is your least favorite video game publisher?
Oh, least favorite video game publisher besides LJN? Color Dreams? Maybe Color Dreams. What was another one of the blue ones?
Wisdom Tree.
That's the only one?
Only ones.
Yeah, it must be. It must be Wisdom Tree.
America.
I don't know. Camerica? Maybe. No. Toho. Bandai Toho, because they made Jekyll and Hyde and never made a game again, as far as I know. On the NES, at least.
Hey, behind your futon, it looks like you have an Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho video game. Can you tell me anything about that?
Oh, I'll tell you about the Psycho video game. It's on Commodore. It's a point and click game. It's kind of like a mystery. I'm actually really interested in playing more of it. I only checked it out for a little bit. My Commodore is the most temperamental of all my systems. It's really tough. I've had a lot of trouble getting it to work, but I did play that one a little bit. There's also a Friday the 13th and a Nightmare on Elm Street game on Commodore. In fact, there was also an Evil Dead game on Commodore. Commodore is crazy. There existed everything. I think there was more games on Commodore 64 than there was any other system.
Hi. Sorry, I'm shaking right now. Just before I ask, I was just want to say you're my biggest film inspiration, and you're the reason I went to film college. And you've done so much for me in my life, bringing me to my passion. So I was gonna see if I could ask a little favor from you. I went through the line of the panel and got everyone to sign a petition for you to review one game that I've always wanted you to review. And I was wondering if you could maybe play it. Kieran and Tony also signed it.
Yeah, I signed it.
What game is it?
It's Duke Nukem Forever.
Duke Nukem Forever. Okay. Yeah.
I signed this petition. I made sure to sign it.
Is that for me? Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Duke Nukem Forever. It's bad, right?
It's got an interesting history because it took like how many years to come out? It went through like all these different stages. 10? Yeah, it took like 10 years.
It took forever.
I actually liked it forever. I thought it was fun. I paid like $9 for it after it, like 2 months after it came out. The price just dropped like right after it came out.
I mean, I know we can probably get John St. John pretty easily. He's, you know, kind of friend of us, I guess.
Oh yeah, we've done that.
I don't think he's that cool with me. Oh, John St. John.
Batman or Superman?
Hey, how you doing?
Batman or Superman?
Batman or Superman?
Which one?
Oh boy, I'm a little more Batman. That's me personally.
I almost have to
What about Batman v Superman?
Oh, it's terrible.
And it's definitely Batman. I don't even know why you...
Oh, hey, hi Jim Joe. My real big question was, since we know that the ET episode of the AVGN kind of brought about the whole like ET looking for like the excavated lot and everything, how'd you feel when they actually found it?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I couldn't really hear.
Sorry. So basically, I was just asking, how did you feel when they actually found all the buried copies of the ET games underground?
Oh, E.T. Oh.
When they found the buried copies.
Oh, yeah. What was the question about them?
How did you feel when they announced they found all the buried copies?
I mean, the timing was weird because I was making the movie, but I knew they were there. I mean, because there were articles about that since the 80s that were, I mean, when it happened, it was pretty much documented in the papers. They didn't find the 2 million cartridges, so that's kind of like a separate story that kind of got fused with the Alamogordo landfill, because that was where Atari was dumping all kinds of stuff. So yeah, there was E.T. in there, but there was also Centipede, Pac-Man, you know, it was just everything. The myth of the 2 million unsold cartridges of E.T. is still yet to be found.
First, I would just want to say, just like this man right over here, you're a big inspiration for my love of film and filmmaking as well, so I have to thank you for that. I'm sorry?
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. But my question is, I remember one time you did like a music podcast thing with your wife called Audio Slaughter.
Yeah.
And I really loved those, and I was just curious if you ever thought about doing that again or just doing something similar to that.
Oh, I'd love to, yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you listened to those. It was a long time ago. I would love to do more. As soon as we had kids, it got too busy, so we weren't able to do that anymore. I did the Playlist Junkie series for a little while. Yeah, I'd love to do more music stuff. So hopefully, yeah, sometime.
Hi, this is my first ever panel actually going to, and I'm glad it's yours. You've been a huge inspiration. My question is, has there ever been a game that was so bad you actually could not review it?
Has there been a game that's so bad I can't review it? I don't know. I mean, if I review like Desert Bus and Crazy Bus, then I don't think you can go much lower than that.
I know there was a few system episodes we were talking about, and it was just like, nah, not enough bad games, not really that funny.
You know, I mean, I'm not going to say what they are, but we already mentioned Chex Quest. But it's funny, the next episode is a good game. The one after that is one of the worst ever. We have some range coming up.
Hello, Mr. Congratulations on 3 million subscribers, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thanks.
Considering the recent news with Banjo on Smash and
I think the microphone's dying.
Your mic's come a little closer. Maybe it's the range.
Is it the range?
I don't know.
Thank you. Considering Banjo's
It got worse somehow. Maybe
his battery died.
I know. Yeah.
Considering his recent reveal and considering this game left an extremely ugly stain on Rare's history, I think, could you review Rat by the Ghoulies for Xbox? It was released in 2003, and since you already reviewed games from that year, I thought it would be a perfect game for you to review because...
Sorry, 1 second. I'm gonna come over to you.
The speakers are like facing away from us, and there's all this. Huh?
Well, I guess today's an unlucky day.
Turn that mic off. So, Tony, how's it going?
I met some cool fans today. That guy's taking a picture or a video. You're taking a picture or a video, Captain.
Wait,
It's a picture I'll post. I lost, not a lot, but I lost a little bit of weight lately, so if you want to take a picture.
Does anyone want to arm wrestle Tony real quick, or no?
No, I can't arm wrestle. I fell last week and every part of my body hurts now. No, I'm okay, Arnie. You know, like, your hand is bigger than my face.
It was a request for Grabbed by the Ghoulies. Yes.
So, I got an idea. So, a guy in the purple, come up here, and you're just going to tell us your question, and then we'll tell everyone else.
The question is, what is the general cutoff of I guess how old a game is, really?
How retro it can be.
How retro it has to be, and if there's an exception to the rule.
Yeah, there's actually like no cutoff at all anymore. There used to be, it used to just have to be a retro game, but it can be very recent if there's an angle. Like I would usually explain it. I'd be like, oh, this just came out, or like for some reason I'm not doing a retro game today. You know, like I'll mention it, so it'll be part of the episode, part of the story or whatever. Oh, Mighty Number 9, Request. No, I never thought about it yet. I heard it was bad. I've never played it myself.
Yeah, I mean, I will say that, you know, Chex Quest is next, and that came out in '96.
Was it? Yeah.
Yeah, and then the one after that, which I won't say what it is, but that came out like
So now we gave 2 clues.
like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah. That next one will be the following month.
It'll actually be the most recent, I believe, game
Yes,
to ever be reviewed.
Yeah.
You seem really excited. Yeah. I'm picking more front row now because of the walk, you know, I know.
Right.
Okay, so
This guy just made fun of Kieran's chair breaking in a different dimension?
this guy was at RetroCon, which is in this building, and we were doing a panel much like this when Kieran's chair just collapsed under him.
It was my first panel that I've ever done as part of Cinemassacre, and James was in the middle of talking, and my chair just collapsed, and I fell to the ground, and I didn't get up. I laid there.
Is anyone else scared sitting in these chairs? They're kind of rickety. Am I right?
Yeah. So the thing was, I switched my chair,
And that's
because I was
me
like, this one feels rickety. I need to do it. So I switched it, and that one collapsed. And it was my first, my first time out in the vision of people.
That's a good question. Yeah, it's about yeah, I'm about to. Yeah, in the Earthbound episode, there was a movie I mentioned that inspired a scene from the game, like a really disturbing movie that the game designer saw. The question was if there's any other games I know of where there was a movie scene that inspired it. I think a lot, but I can't. The question is, can I think of an example right now? I don't know. But what? Castlevania is easy. I was gonna say that, but I'm always talking about Hammer films and everything. I even thought about doing a video sometime and just getting it all out in the open. Here's every tiny detail in the Castlevania games that was inspired by something, whether it was Greek mythology or Hammer films or anything, any kind of monster lore. I'm trying to think of something that non-monster.
Contra?
What?
Contra.
Oh, Contra. Well, yeah, Alien. Well, Metroid was inspired by Alien. It seemed almost everything at a certain point was inspired by Alien. Oh, Sequel. Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff. I'm sure Ninja Gaiden probably has a lot of references. Yeah.
And Yellow, can you come up here so we can hear you as well?
Is it working? Is it working?
It's working, yeah. You can hear you. There's no audio monitor. We can't hear.
We can't hear anything up here.
Hey, what's up, Mega Powers?
Actually, not that we can hear anything. We can hear everything. Everything in this entire building.
I like your Mega Power shirt, by the way.
Has there ever been a time when you're working on your videos and you have the rolling arm where maybe you messed up a bunch of times or something and you had to like refill it with water or something like that so you don't sit there and get wasted?
Yeah. That was Jekyll and Hyde. That was episode 2. Yeah, I did not have one of those. I had like 5 in like under an hour. So that wasn't good. No, since then I haven't drank real beer in the episodes. Usually, a lot of times it's the same bottle. Like the same bottle has been in more than one episode, and it's just filled with iced tea or something, So.
And also, you're like the Michael Jordan of YouTube to me. So can I shake your hand?
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah.
I guess just leave that mic right there, and then we'll just in the purple. Yeah, you just run up and grab this mic. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to run, but you can.
You take your time. I hope there's no feedback.
Yeah. And speaking of the beer thing, generally speaking, you're like drunk when you're recording and filming, right?
Only rental reviews.
Hey, hi.
So my favorite video of yours is Action 52, and I've always had this weird thought that if it was in the hands of a better developer, that Cheetah Men could have been something really great, especially if it was marketed properly. Battletoads or Ninja Turtles. How do you feel about that? Do you think Cheetah Men had potential to be something great?
It did, but the question is Action 52 was a game. Well, there was a ton of games on Action 52, but one of them, Cheetah Men, had potential of being something great. But the thing is, even Ninja Turtles and Battletoads and all the things that Cheetah Men was trying to be, even those games had potential and didn't live up to everything. Even though those turned out way better, but still, it was like if they couldn't get, those games to be just right, then, you really had some problems. Yeah, I think they were trying to.
I think there was already a cheetah game, Chester Cheetah.
Yeah. There's a comic book with it and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
SWAT cats.
SWAT cats.
Oh, SWAT cats is awesome.
SWAT cats.
Cool, thank you. Yeah. We're gonna do the pointing thing? We're gonna do the pointing thing?
I guess this guy's getting pointed at.
I guess we're picking somebody else. I don't know, who did we get?
That guy.
Right there? Okay.
This guy. I want this guy.
We're gonna get? Okay.
He's getting pointed at.
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember to keep talking into the mic rather than, you know.
Yes, sir. So my favorite episode of yours is the Mega Man Games episode.
Oh, thanks.
And in general, I love the anniversary kind of specials that you do. So your 10th anniversary, you did the movie. And for the 10th anniversary of your YouTube channel, Mega Man Games, do you have any idea what you're going to do for the Nerds' 20th anniversary?
We're on 2024 now. What will be the Nerds' 20th anniversary? Anything planned for it? No, not yet. I mean, damn. Wow. It'll be here before we know it, I'm sure. But no, I haven't thought about that yet. But I do know that I promised a certain game review in 2020, which is Raid 2020. Kind of like Street Fighter 2010. But now we got 10 more years since that. It's crazy.
Oh, by the way, someone sent me a while back, they made a mini, like a web series that's a fan web series just about Street Fighter 2010. I don't know why people like that game so much. I just want to pull it out. I just remember that. Who else has got a question? Wait, wasn't there someone dressed like the Joker?
Oh yeah.
Did I just make that up? Where's the Joker?
There was a Joker. There was a Joker in the deck.
There wasn't. Okay, I didn't just make that up. All right. Well, the Joker's gone now.
You know what? I like the guy who has his hat in the air back there. Yeah, that's you. Yeah, come up here. Because he's been the entire panel has been bracing his arm because it's so tired. He's just like. So I'm very excited to hear what you have to say. Cool shirt. All right.
Okay, so this is sort of a question for all of you, but what made you come up with the idea for rental reviews?
Oh, for rental reviews?
Oh yeah. These guys came with the idea.
We were kind of doing it anyway. Like whenever we went to go see a movie, we would just talk about movies for a while.
Yeah.
It was pretty much like last 4th of July, actually.
Yeah, I think we were just like, because there's a lot of other stuff we shoot in the basement and all that, and we just kept passing the set over and over again. Well, not set, like the actual store. We call it the set because we filmed there, but I was just like, why aren't we using this more? It's really good looking, So then we always, we're jumping about movies. We have James Like Monday. Maybe we should do another weekly show. To have stuff coming out between nerd episodes. So it just made sense.
Hey James.
Yeah.
Can I give you a hug?
Sure. Okay, from now on, let's use the stairs, OSHA violations and stuff. Okay, we're not using the stairs. Okay, safe.
Does anybody want to hug Justin at all? That was more people than I thought. Never mind.
Oh yeah, we have a rental review panel tomorrow too.
Oh yeah. Rental review panel tomorrow. Oh, I got some good clips.
So don't tell them what we're doing at the panel.
Okay, all right.
That's
I'm just saying. Tomorrow, find out.
Okay, yes, the person who's doing that, yes. Yeah, that's fine. That's, What's up?
Okay.
Are you getting your phone ready? All right, well, okay.
Well, I had 2 quick questions. My boyfriend who couldn't make it wanted to ask if you have ever played a Gundam game or heard of Super Robot Wars.
What's it called again?
Super Gundam Wars.
Super Gundam Brothers?
Wars.
Gundam Wars, okay. Yeah. I don't think so, no. What type of game is it?
It's like a grid-based like fighting game, sort of.
Okay.
There's a few good Gundam games, but There's a lot of good ones. Yeah, but to get into Gundam, there's just so much. It's just been such a long-running anime and stuff.
Yeah.
But now I guess.
And I was wondering if you were going to be here after the Q&A because I wanted to get something signed.
You have it now. I'm actually not going to be here after the signing. I'm going to go see Psycho Stick, and then yeah. So.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Okay. This
Do you have a marker?
If you want other stuff signed, that's happening Sunday. Actually, over there. So. I guess while she's doing that, let's.
How about the guy in the gray hoodie whose hand's been up for a while? There we go. It looked like it was getting tired. I want to make sure it gets some stuff.
Yeah, just pick the mic up.
So, Spider-Man. What about Spider-Man 2 on the PS2?
Oh, that's one of my favorite games.
That's a great game. Like, why would we? I don't think they got the swinging mechanic right on that one.
What about Nuts and Bolts?
Ratchet and Clank.
What was that second?
What about Nuts and Bolts?
Guns and Bolts?
Nuts and Bolts. Banjo-Kazooie 3.
Oh, Banjo-Kazooie. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with the, it makes sense of all the Smash stuff coming out. I mean, I'd like to do more stuff like Xbox and that generation. That'd be cool. Hey, microphone.
Oh, stairs. Use the stairs. You dropped your wallet. No, you dropped your wallet. You dropped your wallet. Next to the microphone. Next to the microphone. Guys, stairs, please.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Thanks for the art.
Oh, cool.
Is that Shredder? Is that okay? I'll take Shredder.
People are dressed up.
Well, you were shredded down to your socks, my friend.
I have an Optimus Prime hoodie in my car that's just like that.
Okay. My question is, what is the hardest effect that it took you to do filming the AVGN?
There's so much noise in this room.
Sorry, say that again.
In the Polybius episode, there was an effect I didn't use where I was playing the art machine, and while I was playing it, my back is facing the camera. So I'm looking at the game, and my head turns slowly all the way around, Exorcist style. And I first did it where it was like I did one version of it where it was like really slow, where it was like that. And the way I did it, I mean, I filmed my body just still, and then I turned, and I thought I could combine the two shots and make it look like my head is turning or all the way around 180. But when I did it, it just didn't look right. It looked kind of silly. So then I sped it up and was like, let me see what it looks like with like a really fast, like, you know? And it was just weird, but it wasn't weird in like a creepy way. It was just weird and kind of like, it just looked kind of silly.